have received so many questions on what really causes hair loss, how our eco products work, do they work for both men and women, and do they help people whose hair loss is due to genetics or the various types of alopecia. All eco products are natural and herbal. The hair products restore hair and they work for both men and women. Our Eco All Natural Hair products work by feeding your hair follicles and nourishing your blood vessels, which is very critical in the health of one's hair. You might ask, what do you mean that I need to feed my hair follicles? Well, hair growth is not as simple as most people think or wish for it to be. Because of this, I shudder when I see some things that we do to our hair, not realizing how we are toying with such a complex cycle that once broken, it is a time-consuming process to restore it back to full vibrance. There's also an emotional pain that comes with any kind of hair loss. This is what has driven us to put this series together, because knowledge is power and is a tool that is good to have when making decisions. There is no way we can understand hair loss without really appreciating the mechanics of hair growth. We only get to see what pops out of our scalp, and most of us have no idea how that comes to be. Most of us enjoy the external part of the hair, which we have been taught that it is dead. And because of this, we kind of pay no much attention to the part of the hair that's alive. And I think that is what has made a majority of us to try out creative things on our hair. And we do this mainly focusing on how good our hair will look like, or how interesting our hair style will look like. And we kind of pay no attention to what we might be causing or doing to the part of the hair that's alive. But the idea that hair is just dead can be thrown out just by doing two simple experiments. One experiment, which is the quickest one to see the result, is pull your hair, like really pull your hair, and I'm sure you'll feel pain. Well, don't do this, because I'm sure you've already done this before, intentionally or unintentionally, and you know that this is not a theory. When you pull your hair, you'll feel pain, and that is a sign that your hair is attached to something that is alive. The second experiment is cut your hair, and the result is you will see it grow. Also, you don't need to do this, because this is also another proven theory. It's a fact. And we all know that anything that is dead cannot grow. So this means that our hair we do have a part of our hair that's alive. With that, hair loss cannot really be understood without first having an idea of the complexity of hair growth. Before diving into the hair growth topic, let me introduce a simple analogy that we can use as we introduce ourselves to the hair growth mechanism. I'm going to liken hair to milk, and to be more specific, cow milk. When you have milk in your cup, it's clearly not alive, but it originates from a living source. So let's see some obvious things that we know about the source of cow milk. We have Corky, the dairy farmer here, who I'm sure is very grateful when he gets a good yield of milk from his cow. There is no way that Corky would expect to have a great yield of milk if his cows look like this. He understands the criticality of the well-being of his cows if he wants to run a successful dairy farm. There's just no way a malnourished cow can ever have a good milk production. It does not matter how good Corky is great at milking the cow. Without even studying the hormones and the chemistry behind milk production, Corky can tell by one look at these cows that his milk production farm, while having them as his cows, will not be immediate. More work and investment is needed with these cows. But if we were to give him these cows instead, he would be the happiest farmer around. He would be able to start his milk production project immediately. Koki also knows that he would need to maintain his cows in good health if he wants that milk production to continue year after year. If he wanted to exceed the average milk production, then he could also take some extra steps. Maybe invest in creating a holding pre-milking place where he keeps his cows at cool temperatures. He could also make sure his cows get good rest, and that means reduce the time they spend standing before milking. Also, if he wanted, he could even play some soothing music to his cows. All these steps that are extra have already been proven that they can increase his milk yield to be above average. But the basic and most obvious thing would be to keep his cows healthy, well fed, and well watered. Happy, healthy cow equals great milk production. So now we go back to the hair growth mechanism. So for us then to understand what we need to do to keep our hair healthy, we need at least to have an idea of what the hair growth mechanism looks like. Unlike a cow, physically seeing early signs of hair loss is almost impossible. The earliest signs would be within your hair follicles, which is the living part of your hair, and it is underneath your scalp. What if we could just have a window to look through to see how our follicles are doing? Wouldn't that be great? Well, there's another reality which would reveal to us that this job of inspecting the follicles would be impossible. On a healthy scalp, you have about 100,000 follicles, and each follicle is an individual. What do I mean by an individual? In the analogy of a cow, it would mean Koki having 100,000 cows, and each cow is likely going through different things every day. Each follicle is a unique environment with different activities going on. So if God allowed us to be able to inspect our follicles, the idea of inspecting each follicle would be tedious. Other than having 100,000 follicles, there is an active daily cycle that happens with our hair. Each day, we shed about 50 to 150 hairs, which is actually very healthy. So there is an expected healthy shedding of hair that happens daily. For the women out there who love their protective hair cells, this cycle happens whether your hair is braided or not. So let us look at the hair growth mechanism so that we understand what I mean by saying this. In the hair cycles I'm showing here, we have 4 phases. There's the anagen phase, which is the growth phase. Catagen phase, in this phase the growth stops. The telogen phase, it's a resting phase which also has no hair growth. And there's an exogen phase, which results in the hair shedding. On your head right now, you have hairs that are in either one of these phases I'm showing here, meaning there are some in anagen, some in catagen, in telogen, and some in exogen. Now, at a very high level and basic view, your hair health is dependent on how many of your hairs are in anagen, which is a growth phase, and how many are in the telogen phase, which is a resting phase. The anagen phase takes about 3 to 5 years, and there are some people's hairs which can go up to 8 years. Is having it up to 8 years good? Yes, it's spectacular. The anagen phase is the growth phase, so that would mean 8 years of hair growth. A person with a healthy hair cycle has about 90% of their hair in the anagen phase. A single hair can stay in this growth phase unless it is either cut. It does not stop the growth phase, as you only cut the external part of your hair which is above your scalp. The other thing that can stop the growth phase is if you have other things that can mess with your anagen phase. And these things are, genetic issues, biological or chemical issues, physical trauma issues, which then results to hair loss. We shall cover all these different issues specifically in another episode. All these issues would affect your anagen phase and could cause your hair to prematurely move from the anagen phase, which is the growth phase, to the telogen phase, which is the resting phase where there is no growth. So this means that less hair would be in the actively growing phase and would be switched to the resting phase. We do not want this, and this is where our Eiko All Natural products come in. So Eiko products give your hair the support it needs to stay in the anagen phase, feeding your follicles with the optimum nutrient balance, which includes naturally occurring antioxidants. If you have genetically caused baldness, be it male or female, I'm talking to you. If you are experiencing alopecia, this is for you. If you just want to increase and keep your hair volume, well, Eiko hair products are for you as well. The key is to start nourishing your hair follicles now. Don't wait for your hair follicles to start weakening or to weaken even further. It doesn't matter where you are on this journey. You are able to restore, rebuild, and increase more follicles with Eiko All Natural products. For the young men out there, if your dad or grandpa is bald, don't wait. Eiko hair products are a great preventive care. They will keep the blood vessels that feed your hair follicles in shape. They will keep your follicles vibrant and healthy. They will maintain you in the anagen phase, as our natural ingredients have naturally occurring DHT blockers. Also, as we all age, it is natural for our follicles to reduce if we do not do anything. And this results in a reduction in our hair volume and our hair thinning. Isn't it good to know that this does not have to happen? The Eiko All Natural Preventive Care Hair Products will keep your hair healthy and your follicles pumped up. So God bless you all, and see you next time as we expound more on this topic, God willing.